Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, folks, got a lot of news going on today. I mean, a lot of news.
The big news. Not even news, it's total shock.
Oh, come on, Jerry, please, 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 please.
And it's big. So let's get into it. Two big things going on. First of all, the NCAA has slammed the door shut on Pruitt going to Alabama this year as a defensive analyst. We're going to get into all of that. Also, we have a very elite QB. He's going to commit in the next 48 hours, and we're going to talk about that because it will affect the Vols. First, we need to start out with our boy, Jeremy Pruitt. Now, there was a lot of folks in Alabama that were really hoping that he would be able to either become the defensive coordinator, which that didn't happen. They hired the guy from Auburn, or used to be at Auburn, and at one point was the head coach of UT. And then they thought, well, maybe we'll get him as an analyst. You know, that's better than nothing. But it looks like the NCAA's made sure that's not going to happen either. So let's get into this story, and we'll talk about it a little bit. And then we'll get into the elite QB that we've been talking about for the last couple of days. And this story is by Ronald Evans, and he's at the Bama Hammer, okay? And it says NCAA shuts the door on Jeremy Pruitt. It says, while most Alabama football fans have endorsed Nick Saban's decision to hire Kevin Steele, who obviously is the guy that used to be at Auburn, many of those folks down there, they still want Jeremy Pruitt in some form or fashion. Look, he was a really good defensive coordinator for Alabama, and especially in 2016 and 17, he had them as a very difficult defense to deal with. He had them really rolling. But after Pruitt failed as a head coach at Tennessee, and we know all about that, the bags of money of Chick-fil-A, $60,000 total given, and all of that, you know, big dummy. Yep. He didn't do such a good job on that. But anyway, the NCAA mess at Tennessee not only cost Pruitt his job, it also forced Philip Fulmer into another test. Now, this has everything to do, they take a shot at Philip Fulmer and they call him a cancer and all that. That has a lot to do with Alabama still kind of mad about him supposedly turning them in over a player from Memphis, and it got him sanctioned and kind of put him in a bad spot for several years. So there's a lot of anger in Alabama towards Philip Fulmer, so that's why you'll see that type of thing in anything that's written about Alabama and Tennessee. It says, for weeks before Saban hired Steele, Alabama football insiders were convinced Pruitt would soon return to Tuscaloosa. After a year with the New York Giants, Pruitt readily admitted he wanted to coach for the Crimson Tide again, so he wanted to come back. The NCAA process that will bring expected punishment to Tennessee, we'll see how much punishment there really is, could also come down hard on Pruitt. He's going to get a show cause. You can count on that. And Bama decided it was too risky. They still held out hope that Pruitt would accept an offer as an Alabama defensive analyst, but NCAA kind of dashed those hopes because they had been talking about analysts doing on-field coaching. See, when you have an analyst, they can't go down on the coach and, you know, be hands-on, which is what Pruitt loves to do. Of course, Pruitt is also a great evaluator of talent. That's what he's kind of known for. But hands-on is a big deal. Well, the NCAA, even though they had talked about doing that, approving the change, looks like it was looking pretty good a few months ago. But now it looks like that's not going to happen at all for the 2023 season. It says the proposal to allow analysts and other off-field staffers to coach or participate is not expected to pass before the 23 season. And that was from the American Football Coaches Associate Executive Director Todd Berry. He said, I've told the group that I'm disappointed because we led people to believe that that was going to happen, and other coaches and folks had actually made career changes based on that. And it's not going to happen, certainly not in 2023. I always thought it was kind of weird that you could have an analyst, but they couldn't do any coaching. But that's just the way NCAA has it set up, and it's obviously not going to change for at least one more year. And here it said Jeremy Pruitt may be one of the coaches that Barry was referring to in his statement as far as career decisions. It says Nick Saban and Alabama football and Jeremy Pruitt will have to wait unless Pruitt changes his mind and comes on board in an off-field role. So Pruitt's not going to be able to do that. Although, you look, he could go coach at a professional team. Look, he's known as a really good defensive coordinator, and he can always get a job doing something along those lines. I don't think he would ever make a good professor for English 101 or anything along those lines. If you remember how he speaks, it's not so good. We done some good things on the field last night, and all right, and you know. You see, every sentence begins with you know and ends with you know. And there has to be an all right at the end, and you think you're done, but then there's a you know afterwards. And then present, past, tense doesn't matter either. So anyway, that's Pruitt. So Alabama will have to worry about him in 2024. Now let's get into a good story. I think this is a good story for the Vols. And a very high 4-star, Jake Merklinger. As you can see, here's his picture, and he's got 1 million teams that want him. And it says here, I will be announcing my commitment this Thursday at 12:05 in the Tippett Gym. All are welcome. So he's going to make a decision in the next 48 hours. And we're going to talk about that for a minute. If you'll remember, I've covered Jaden Davis just a few days ago. And I told you he's going to commit March 31st. Okay, but we didn't know when Jake was going to commit. And Jake's a really high 4-star. Jaden Davis is a 5-star. Okay, they're both top 50 players in the country. So it almost feels like there's some jockeying going on because now Jake has decided to announce March 30th, a day before Jaden Davis. And I told you folks that what I thought Jake was going to do was wait till after March 31st, see what Jaden does. And if he picks the Vols, then he would obviously go somewhere else because you're not going to, go right on top of a 5-star when Nico's sitting there too. But Jake said, whoops, wait a minute. I think I'll go ahead and announce before you, Jaden Davis. Now you'll have to make a decision based on what I do. So pretty good move.
Object, connect 4 of your checkers in a row while preventing your opponent from doing the same.
I won. Where? I can't. Here, diagonally. Pretty sneaky, sis.
That's right, pretty sneaky. So it sounds to me like he's probably going to pick the Vols. That's my guess based on this. And this was just 24 hours ago where Jake Merklinger was picked by Steve Wiltfong, who is probably one of the best at prognosticating. Is that the right word? Is it prognosticate? No, prognosticating. As far as where a player's going to go. And he gave Tennessee a big crystal ball. And usually when Steve Wiltfong puts a crystal ball on there and the guy commits within, a few days, there's a high likelihood he's going to go to that team. So I think it's pretty strong consideration. He's probably already told the coaches where he's going to go, a.k.a. Josh Heupel, so they probably already know. And if I had to guess, I would say he's going to pick the Vols tomorrow at 12:05. We shall see. Look, he may throw a curveball. You never know, but I doubt it. Steve Wiltfong doesn't like to put his neck out there unless he's pretty darn confident. So I feel pretty good about this. And, we'll find out. I've been fooled before, but I kind of doubt it. All right, folks, just wanted to cover those 2 stories. So NCAA slams the door on Pruitt, and then our elite QB, it sounds like he's probably going to want to commit to the Vols. We'll find out within 48 hours. That's Thursday at 12:05. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me know to continue to cover the Vols and all the goings-ons. And if you've not subscribed, it's right here on the left. Just hit that little button. It helps me out. Doesn't cost you a penny, and I'd appreciate it. And right over here's my most recent video. Be sure to check that one out. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.